1. You arrive in Yakutsk. You check the temperature on your phone, minus 60 degrees Celsius. The air feels sharp. Each breath feels like war. Your eyelashes start freezing together. You realize this isn't cold. This is survival. Arrive in Yakutsk. You check the temperature on your phone, minus 60 degrees Celsius. The air feels sharp. Each breath feels like war. Your eyelashes start freezing together. You realize this isn't cold. This is survival. Day 2. You take a quick trip to the market. It takes you 15 minutes to put on enough layers, but it's still not enough. You walk for 5 minutes, then have to step inside a shop just to warm up again. Every short walk feels like a journey. Day 3. You notice cars running with no driver inside. Engines stay on 24/7. If they shut off, they might never turn on again. The city is never silent, like the machines are trying to survive too. Day 4. You try to eat warm cup of pot noodles outside. You lift it toward your mouth and it's already frozen solid. You realize even food is fighting the cold. People survive on heavy soups and frozen fish. Calories aren't comfort here. They're fuel. Day 5. You walk outside thinking you've gotten used to it. After a few minutes, your fingers start to tingle. Then they stop feeling like yours. You're wearing 4 layers of gloves, but it doesn't matter. You rush inside the nearest building to warm up. You look at your fingers, realizing you were seconds away from frostbite. Day 6. You decide to visit the remote villages far from the city. The roads get emptier. People here live even closer to the cold. Wooden houses raised above frozen ground. They only eat what they catch. Life moves slower, but tougher. Survival isn't chance, it's routine. Day 7. You return home and never complain about the heat again. What if a UFC fighter woke up in ancient China? Day 1. You open your eyes on dirt. A monk in simple robes stands over you and says, train. You're 205 pounds of creatine and pre-workout. He's 5'7", lean, raised on rice and repetition, and has been practicing forms since he was 7. You flex at him and show off. He doesn't know what a flex is. He thinks you're high. Day 2. You throw a perfect jab cross. He shifts his stance, sweeps your leg, and you hit the ground before you understand what happened. His palm stops inches from your throat. In the UFC, you had 5-minute rounds. Here, there are no rounds. This ends when someone can't get back up. Day 3. You ask for protein. Instead, they place 1 single grain of rice in your hand as your meal. You now understand why monks don't feel pain. You stare at the grain. You miss In-N-Out burgers. Day 5. A real test. No cage. Just a courtyard and a circle of silent students. These men walk forward without trash talk. The man next to you whispers, balance. You whisper back, where's the referee? He doesn't know what that is. Day 7. The master asks if you want to stay. You were a champion in your era. Here, you're mid. You walk away. What if you brought McDonald's to ancient Egypt? Day 1. You arrive beside the Nile with a small charcoal grill, salted beef, and bread. Workers move blocks under the burning sun. They only eat stale bread. You grab your meat and roll it into a ball. You press the patty onto the iron. The sizzle cuts through desert wind. The smell drifts across hot sand. Workers stop working and admire your stand. Day 2. You set up near the pyramid site. People wait in the shade for your meat. They start calling it meat of the gods. 30 laborers line up before sunrise. Grease on their fingers, but they don't care. By nightfall, you fed every single worker. Day 3. Things go downhill. A governor comes up to your stand and asks who gave you permission to sell. He tells you to close up shop and leave. You say nothing and hand him a burger. 1 bite and he folds. As long as you give the governors free burgers, no one will disturb you. Week 1. Socrates is touring in Egypt. He comes up and asks you, if the burger is your power, what are... You cut him off. You've had enough of this bum. You tie him up and send him back to Greece. There's no way he comes back, right? Month 6. The crowds exceed limits. It's getting hard to meet demands. You send a proposal to the pharaoh. He takes 1 bite of your burger and accepts. He builds you a McDonald's near the pyramids and gives you workers. Your job now to feed workers. Year 1. Your meat controls Egypt. No food supply enters or leaves the country without your approval. You didn't just make a business, you filled hungry stomachs. What if you opened a Dunkin' Donuts in ancient Greece? Day 1. You arrive in ancient Greece carrying flour, sugar, and an iron pot. Greek markets smell like fish and dog shit. These guys only eat plain bread. You prepare the dough and roll it up into small rings and drop them into hot oil. The dough starts to bubble and turn golden. You cover them with your thick, fluid, colorful toppings. People gather around and stare at you. Day 2. You set up near a landmark. People line up at your stall. They call them rings of the gods. A man takes a bite bite, he almost faints with happiness. He tells you to put the donuts in the bag. He takes home 20 by sunset. The sugar rush kicks in. The city doesn't sleep. Day 3. The city is addicted. People walk around holding bags of donuts. Philosophers start debating with frosting all over their robes. The demand doesn't stop. Gladiators chase the sugar rush before training. Week 1. You're minding your business frying donuts. Fucking Socrates comes to rage bait you. He asks, does the donut control the man, or does the man control the donut? You want to throw the fucking oil at him, but at this point you give up. You just hand him his donuts. He calls you a good boy and walks away happy this time he won. Month 3. The lines are bigger than Socrates' head. You send a proposal to the emperor for a bigger shop. The emperor takes one bite and immediately builds you a Dunkin' Donuts. Now you don't have to lift a finger. Workers do everything for you. Donuts become a Greek obsession. Year 1. Athens is now the donut capital. You've achieved a donut empire. Greece no longer runs on plain bread. It runs on sugar and thick white sauce. You didn't just bring donuts, you changed Greek culture. Would you get rich selling tacos in the ancient Aztec Empire? Day 1. You arrive carrying beef, spices, and a small iron pan. You walk through the village. They only eat maize and beans. You roll up corn balls and press the corn dough flat onto the iron pan. You then slap your meat onto the pan. The sizzling and smell cuts through the air. People gather around your stand. No one has ever smelled anything like it. Day 2. Word spreads through the city. Lines form before sunrise. People call them sunbreads. Warriors take bites. Oil and crumbs spill everywhere, but they don't care. By sunset, you've made a week's wage. Day 3. Meals start to backfire. Warriors start to miss training to use the bathroom, but the lines only get longer. People crowd your stall. The demand gets overwhelming. You struggle to keep up. Week 1. An odd customer skips the line before you can say anything. He asks you, if your meat is your power, what are you without it? You look closer and discover it's fucking Socrates disguised as a tribe member. How does he keep doing this? You're too busy for this bum. You will deal with him later. Month 6. Your food spreads across the empire. Tacos become a culture. The tribe leader is looking for a virgin sacrifice to please the sun gods. You point to Socrates and hand him over. He starts asking them his weird questions, but they ignore him and take him away. You finally got rid of him. Year 1. The empire runs on your recipe. No food enter or leaves the city with your approval. You didn't just fill empty stomachs, you brought them culture. What if you sold Dubai chocolate in ancient Rome? Day 1. You arrive in Rome carrying cocoa beans, pistachios, and kunafa. Sweets in the markets are luxury. These guys only eat rotten meat and bread. You grind the beans into a paste and pour it into molds. Then you layer it with kunafa paste. Once they set, you break the bar open. Thick green filling spills out. People stop walking and gather around you. Day 2. You set up near the Colosseum. People line up outside your stall. They call it green turds. A Roman soldier takes one bite. He freezes. He buys 10 more to give his whole family diabetes. By sunset, Rome is covered in chocolate wrappers. Day 3. The city is addicted. The demand only grows. A gladiator comes to you. He asks you to make a batch for the whole army before training. They want the sugar rush during training. By midday, you run out of milk, so you walk over the river Tiber to strike deals with farmers. You now have fresh milk every morning. Week 1. You see that someone is stealing. You get closer and catch the thief. It's fucking Socrates stealing your shit. He says he can explain and tries to ask you his bum-ass questions. You've had enough. You tie him up in the streets as an example to not steal. That should show him. Month 1. Kunafa is known across the empire. Rome imports cocoa everywhere now. Senators eat your chocolates during debates. Markets don't smell like piss anymore. They smell like melted chocolate. Rome becomes the chocolate capital. Year 1. You're the richest person in Rome. You run your own chocolate factory and workers. Rome no longer runs on bread and rotten meat. It runs because of you. You didn't just sell chocolate, you brought diabetes to Rome. What if you opened an In-N-Out in ancient Egypt? Day 1. You arrive in Egypt carrying buns, a grill, a blender, and ton of ice. You see workers pushing hard. In the heat, they're only allowed to eat bread. You load up the blender with ice, pour milk, and cold chocolate ice cream. You blend it all together. The noise of the blender is heard across the desert. You've made the first milkshake. The thirsty workers stop working and gather around your stall. Day 2. Thirsty workers line up outside your stall. They call it Ice of the Gods. A worker just finished a 20-hour shift. He takes one sip and he freezes. All the other workers can't hold back. In hours, every worker's thirst is filled. Week 1. The city is addicted, but milkshakes are not enough. They want proper food. So you whip out your meat and press it into patties. You put them onto the grill. The sizzling and smell cuts through the desert. You prepare burgers and make sure every worker gets a bite. Week 3. Your very good friend Socrates is visiting Egypt. He comes up to your stand and asks you, if your meat is your power, what are you without without it. You laugh and tell him that was a good one. You hand him a milkshake. He drinks it without question. He wakes up on a fucking boat getting sent back to Greece. Month 1. A senator comes to your stand with an offer from the pharaoh. He says he will build you a In-N-Out as long as you supply Egypt with your meat. You now own a In-N-Out. Workers do all your work. Your job is simple. Feed the workers so they work faster. Year 1. Everyone in Egypt has tasted your meat. The pyramids are almost built. Egypt is now your city. You command the food supply chain. You didn't just bring fast food,